Hello and welcome. This is Crossing Bridges Talk Show. I'm Larry Montgomery, the host. Larry Montgomery Sr., sorry, the host. And this is my co-host, William. William, introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. I'm William Montgomery, and it's a pleasure to be here.
This is CNN.
Got to get my James Earl Jones on.
I would get my Barry White on. But anyway, we want to welcome you who are listening and watching. And this week, we want to talk about a couple of things. But first, let us pay our condolences to DMX, who passed the other day at the age of 50. Most of you know him as the rapper. I know that for me, I always enjoyed his work. I think he had a special talent for what he did. It's unfortunate that he had some other issues that he struggled with, but he still seemed to be a good guy to me. I've heard worse from others, or about others, but I hope he rests in power, as they say.
Yeah, rest in power.
Okay. What else happened this week? The case, the trial is still on George. Well, George Floyd is not on trial. Officer Chauvin is on trial.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how this system works. It's always the victim's fault that they wound up dead. No one else did anything wrong from the defense's perspective, which, I know that it's important to be able to have an advocate for you in the legal system. It just boggles my mind at the lengths that some of these attorneys will go to, thinking that who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes? I mean, this is about the one case that everybody in the world has already seen the outcome. And we're still here 2 weeks into it debating if we saw what we saw. So, in my opinion, on the other end of this, no matter what the outcome is going to be some issues, But anyway, I know the man is in a better place right now. And I tell you, from what I saw, he didn't deserve anything of what he got over a supposedly counterfeit $20 bill. I get parking tickets for $50 and don't get arrested. I mean, really, this is, anyway, okay. So, okay, this week we had planned to talk about the 3 spiritual laws, which is still on my agenda, but I'm not going to talk about that today. I want to talk to you about the hidden rules of class. Let me say that again so it's clear. Hidden, as in HIDDEN, rules, RULES, of class. Now, what is class? We're talking about from an economic standpoint. It may also spill over into a cultural standpoint. It definitely will spill over into an ethnic standpoint. Colors, black and white. But anyway, classes. In my day, it was easy to define what classes were. You were either in the lower class or the middle class or the upper class. Nowadays, there are many more divisions in that whole conversation. We not only have an upper class, we have an upper class, and then we have the super rich. We have the middle class. We have a lower middle class. We have an upper middle class. Mm-hmm. Then we have a lower class. And we have the poor. And then we include folks like, anyway. I don't know what your economic situation is, but compared to the super rich, everybody's poor. Okay.
pretty much.
I mean, we've got so many billionaires nowadays. It's just unbelievable. They can get their own phone book. You know? I mean, when is enough enough? I mean, really, when is it enough? I mean, we came here with nothing, and we didn't have any clothes, and we're going to leave here, and we can't take nothing with us, or the clothes on our back. So when is enough enough? You know. But anyway, let's talk about this this thing here. I'm going to bring it on the screen. I believe I can do that. Let's see here. Okay. Possessions. You know, those things that you have. Let's talk about that. Poor people. What do they possess? Tick tock, tick tock. Yeah, they're poor. They got nothing. Then we have the middle class. What do they possess? Things. Cars, houses, books, toilet paper, you know, things. And then there's the wealthy. What do they possess? One-of-a-kind objects, legacies, and pedigrees. Now that's interesting. What is a pedigree? You know, kind of like, you know, yeah, it's like dogs. You know, where did they come from? In that long line of dogs, either German Shepherds. You know, the other day I actually found out there were many different breeds of German Shepherds. And they have different characteristics. I didn't know that. Not that I'm a dog owner or do I even actually care about dogs. You know, I just don't bother them. They don't bother me, and that's a good thing. But, you know, it gets deep, okay? So let me ask you, Will, what would be your thoughts on a lifelong pursuit of acquiring possessions? Do you have a strategy or plan? Have you done that? Do you do that?
Well, no, I don't. My lifelong strategy is to have a sustainable income that's I don't have to supervise every second of the day, so I can go live and do things that I want to do when I want to do them, how I want to do them, and for however long I want to do them. So, but as far as buying one-of-a-kind items, I care less, and having a pedigree that people will be like, "Oh, my, you have so your pedigree is so great." I don't care, because at the end of the day, we all have to survive, and being able to survive and not struggle, that's my goal. And then what I get, I plan to share with my family, because if they're with me, they don't deserve to struggle or, you know, deal with all that nonsense either. Because we're here together, we're gonna be together.
Okay, sounds good. Anyway, one-of-a-kind things. Now, I don't struggle with that, but I do understand it, and I do appreciate it, and I have to, and I do agree with what Will is saying, that if I had something, one-of-a-kind item that had value, if I couldn't make any money from it immediately, if I thought it was going to go up in value, I would probably leave it for a family member, because I can't take it with me. All right. You might see behind me, you don't see all of what I have, but I do have an art collection, lithographs signed, you know, yeah, and they do go up in value. Mine's is pretty much black art, except for the one behind me, which is the new poster of the New Yorker. And if you know anything about that magazine and the artists, I'll leave it there. So let's go on. Money. Poor people, and this is from a study of this, and it's all going to come to a point at the end. But poor folks, money is to be spent, not saved, but spent. In the middle class, their focus is to manage their money. Now, the difference between spending it and managing it, you can clearly understand that. At the end of Saturday lunch, when you're managing your money, you still have some. If you're in the middle class, if you're poor, by lunchtime on Saturday, if you got paid on Friday night, you're pretty much broken, trying to catch up for next week somehow. But when you look at the wealthy people, their goal is to conserve and invest. Meaning, and I'm sure that a lot of us understand this, and we'll probably get to this a little later. I can see clothing on the list here. When I was coming up, we used to have PF Flyers, the sneakers. They were pretty much sneakers, reasonably priced at like $5. I am that old. And Converses were, premium sneakers, specialty sneakers for basketball players. PF Flyers, you could play baseball in those. Put Converses, Chuck Taylors. They were $8.25. You know what that means. You got to sacrifice something to get yourself a pair of Converses. And they were good quality shoe. Don't get me wrong. But, it's kind of when you're making that layup, you got on a pair of Cons. Yeah. You know what you're doing. You got a pair of PF Flyers on, you flopping all around in the wind. So, people be slamming you up against the backboard. Nah, man, you can't. Nah, you can't. Anyway, I digress. Let's go on. Okay. Personality. And when it comes to poor folks, or the lower class, let's say it that way, we're about entertainment, having a good sense of humor. And it does say that sense of humor is highly valued. For the middle class, personality is for acquisition and stability. Achievement is highly valued. So if you achieve something, that's your goal as a middle class person. I want to win the championship, so I can say that I won, not I played or I got picked for the team and I sat on the bench. No, we won. We achieved something. For the rich folks, is connections, financial, political, social connections are highly valued. So it's who you know, not what you can do, but who do you know? Nowadays I can walk on any basketball court, and I don't really play well now, but I could say that I remember this court because I played on it. And let me tell you about the folks who were playing with me and against me. I could tell you straight up, I played against Julius Erving, the doctor. All right. And it wasn't pleasant for him. See, you was thinking something else, wasn't you? Now, anyway, no, it wasn't pleasant at all. Let me see if I can move this up a little bit. And let's get back here. Hold on. Where am I at? Where's my thing here? Come on. Okay, so now social emphasis. Okay, for the poor folk, social inclusion of people they like. Okay, you want to do things around people that you like. People that you don't like, no, they can't come. They don't get invited. For the middle class, emphasis on self-governance and self-sufficiency. Now, I can't really give you an explanation on that, but from a social emphasis, I guess what they're saying there is, I don't know. We'll have to come back to that one. For the rich folks, it's about exclusion. So we're having an event and you can't come. You're not invited. You won't feel comfortable. You don't know anybody in there but me. You still can't come. Food. Key question there. Did you have enough food is what drives the lower class. What else do we have there? We were talking about food, yeah. Quantity is important. We move on to the middle class, and they want to know about the quality. Now, yeah, I'll have a barbecue, and I'm serving, who's that? I can't think of the name of that company. But you go to a special butcher, for your burgers and stuff like that there. And so when you bring them out, you say, oh, those burgers they look so tasty, so fresh. Oh yeah, I got them from, Stop and Shop. But compared to going to the local bodega, you're in a different class. Okay. Rich folks, it's about presentation. And usually they're not going to spend a lot of time in the kitchen preparing the burgers with all kinds of festive decorations around it. They will what? Have the chef prepare it. And the chef is going to put his, his trademark on there. And so when they serve it, they have the conversation of, oh, this was prepared by a world famous chef, Boyardee. Okay. But you get the point.
Mm-hmm.
For those of us old enough to know who Chef Boyardee is.
I know who Chef Boyardee is.
But you get the point. Clothing, and we're going to talk about that a little earlier. Clothing for the lower class. Clothing valued for individual style and expression of personality. And I was talking about Converses. Yeah. They had value. They cost more than PF Flyers. They're special sneakers for good players. Yeah. So that would be something that's important to me. Now, in the middle class, clothing is valued for its quality and acceptance into norm. The middle class label is important. So yes, Chuck Taylor's Converses would be important. I would distinguish myself from the lower class by wearing Chuck Taylors. For the rich folks, the wealthy, clothing is valued for its artistic sense and expression, designer importance. So I'm not wearing Converses. I'm wearing Gucci Converses. No, they would just be Gucci sneakers. Yeah, or one of those other designer guys. Now, that was kind of contradictory because a lot of, I guess the upper class white folks that I know, it's not about wearing Gucci sneakers. They would probably come out with some Skechers, something like that there. But they would have an extra $200 in their pocket. Mm-hmm. So I didn't buy Jordans. They don't buy Jordans. They'll buy the PF Flyers and put the $200 difference in their pocket. Mm-hmm. That would go along with conservation and be concerned about investing. You can't invest if you ain't got. Okay, so let's go on. Time. What do you do with your time? Lower class. Let's see. Decisions made for the moment based on feelings or survival. Well, I feel like watching The Simpsons. Okay. I'm going to spend an hour sitting here watching some stupid cartoon. Or in the middle class, future is most important. Decisions made against future ramifications. If you're sitting here watching The Simpsons, and I'm in the middle class, I'm not sitting here watching The Simpsons. I'm doing something that's going to help me down the road. Okay. Now, do they play video games? Yeah. What benefit are they getting from playing hours and hours of playing video games? You'll have to ask them. But usually those are the ones who wind up being airplane pilots. Military commanders nowadays. So let's go on. Time, as far as the wealthy. Traditions and history are most important. Decisions made partially on the basis of tradition and decorum. So how am I spending my time? Well, I'm not going to spend my time doing something that's so outside of the norm of what people expect me to spend my time on. Okay. Am I going to sit around and watch the stock market, trends go up and down? Probably not. But I will be aware. I will have spent some time catching up on the news to find out how my stock is doing, to find out how the company that I've invested in is doing. You could have a conversation with me about that. About the last Simpson cartoon? No, I really don't have anything to say about that. Okay. Education. And this is something that most folks understand. In the lower class, it's valued and revered as abstract, but not as reality. Meaning that, I guess, because you have an education, you must be smart. Now go in the kitchen and whip me up a sandwich, because that's about all you're going to get with that education, unless you got a doggone good job. Will you get a good job because you have an education? Maybe. There's no guarantee. Okay. Education from the middle class perspective is crucial for climbing the ladder of success and making money. From a middle class perspective, now, again, remember we talked earlier about the different classes of the different classes. So we have middle class, which is broken down between lower middle class, and upper middle class. Okay. You can be in the middle class and make 6 figures a year and still be considered lower middle class. You could be in the middle class and, let's say, work for a bank as a banker and make something just under 6 figures and be considered middle class. Then you could be a musician, not a world famous one, but one who's making good money. And depending on the kind of music you specialize in, you could earnestly be considered upper middle class. Now, 30, 40 years ago, unless you were world famous as a musician, you were actually considered lower class, upper lower class, because people thought all you did was go to one bar to the next bar, drink, and make music. They had no clue what the business was like. And a lot of the people in the music business are not, a lot of the people in the music business who are making money are not musicians. Okay, let me go on here. Let me get my thing up. Hold on. Back here. Okay, destiny. Now, this is a tough one. In the lower class, believes it's fake. Cannot do much to mitigate change. And I guess that comes from the perspective of the pathology that people fall into and accept. in the lower class, poor folks. Oh, I've got 6 children and 4 baby daddies. Oh, my youngest is now pregnant with her 3rd child and she hasn't even got out of high school. Oh, the pathology. You and everyone in the household keeps falling into the same problems because that's all you know. Not that you deliberately got up and said, I'm going to go out and get pregnant or make another baby that I can't afford or not going to support, but you do it. And you look around and say, yeah, that's what goes on here. In the middle class, believes in choice, your destiny, can change the future with good choices. Interesting. Meaning, I don't care what's going on in the household, what my parents did or my uncles and aunts do. I decide on what I'm going to do. I'm not going to go out there and make a baby that I can't afford or I'm not ready to have. Good choice. I'm not going to go and do, start trying to sell drugs and make some side money because I could get caught and I'd have a record and I can't get a job. Choices. The wealthy, I don't get that one. Noblesse, oblique. I don't think they even think about destiny. It is what it's supposed to be. We are the Montgomerys. What else is there? We have a household of all doctors. We're all surgeons. What else is there? You want to be an auto mechanic? You lost your mind? They'll disown you right now. I mean, okay. Family structure. This is another interesting one for the lower class. Tends to be matriarchal, meaning that usually the household is run by a woman. Probably because the man ain't there, because he made a baby and left. Or he got married and didn't understand what the commitment was and he left. Or he, every time I come home, she's all over me. She thinks I'm cheating because you are. Probably are. And so she ran me off. Some other girl out there likes me. She treats me good. I want to be with her. Yeah. Until you get there and the check comes up short because you got to support that other household. Then life isn't so pleasant anymore. But anyway, we digress. Where was I? Language. No. Oh, we skipped over language. I'm sorry. Well, let's finish with the family structure. In the middle class, the head of the household is usually male, patriarchal. Okay? In the wealthy or the upper class, the family structure is based on who's got the money, which is interesting. Now, talking about being equal opportunity. If you broke, you are not in charge. I don't care who you are. I'm sure they're having a very interesting conversation over there in Britain at, was it Windsor Castle or whatever that place is? We got a White House, they got Windsor Castle or whatever. Now that Charles is dead, who's in charge?
The Queen. She ain't never left charge.
She got the money. She's in charge. Okay, let's go on. Language. It says casual register languages about survival. Figure out what you need to say to get your butt out of what you're in. The middle class. Language is about negotiation. Well, listen, if you can earnestly speak the language, you got a good shot at negotiating your way out and or into different things, right? Talk your way in, talk your way out. For the wealthy, Language. Language is about networking. Interesting. For me to be able to socialize with and meet other people, you've got to first of all bring something to the table of interest, more than just jokes. But you've got to be able to express yourself and understand how they express themselves. So language is important to understand and to be able to effectively use. Okay. And I'm not saying that, well, we all speak in America, most of us speak English. That's not the point. Language is more than the language. Okay. It's how you express and how you get your point across and the point that you're trying to get across. Okay, where we at now? Hold on. Let's go to the next one. This is getting, hold on, here. Okay, let's see. Okay. Worldview for the lower class sees the world in terms of local settings. What does that mean? Well, if you're in Mexico, if I don't see any Mexicans in my neighborhood, I don't have a clue about Mexico. And the people that I see in my neighborhood is where I learn about Mexico from. In the middle class, the world is seen in terms of national settings. Well, what is actually happening over there? Maybe I should Google it and find out. Check out the newspapers. Speak with some people who are from there, or go to Mexico and see what's going on. Yeah. Wealthy people see the world in terms of the international view. How do we relate to the Mexicans? What are the benefits that they bring to the table? How do we do business with them? Whole different perspective. Love. Love and acceptance, conditional based upon whether an individual is liked. For the middle class, love and acceptance are conditional and based largely upon achievement. Now, if I'm in the middle class and you are an athlete, you have achieved a certain amount of respect. Yes. In the upper class, love and acceptance is conditional and related to social standing and connections. And what does that mean? You not only have to be socially accepted, you got to have some connections. What's an example of that? Will, you got one? Or should I just keep going?
Should keep going.
Okay. Well, socially standing, let's see. I'm a politician, okay? And you know that because I'm elected to office. Now, I have social standing. Who do I know? Well, who can you pick up the phone and call? And who picks up the phone and calls you? Tells me what kind of connections you have. Now, just because you got voted in as head of the Boy Scouts Pack 101 here in the community, yeah, you got some social standing. But you got what kind of connections you got? You get a traffic ticket. Can you call a cop? Can you call a judge? I mean, come on. What do you got? What you got? You got nothing. So I'm not really interested in knowing anything more about you than I absolutely have to know. Driving forces. Now, this is where this whole thing is about, this whole conversation. With this information, depending on your class, what can you do with it? If you're in the lower class, your driving force is most likely surviving your relationships with your friends and entertaining yourself. I get up every day, I'm trying to figure out where's the next football game? Where's the next hockey game? Is it going to be local? Is it going to be on CNN? Is it going to be, on whatever? I want to see it. I want to know about it. Entertainment. So I can tell my friends about what I just saw, like they didn't see it. The middle class, yeah, work and achievement. Did you get a promotion? Oh, good. Oh, you made salesman of the year. Oh, good. That's what I'm looking for. People who accomplish things. In the wealthy class, they're interested, what drives them is financial, political, social connections. Because I achieved this, I'm able to walk into this room and meet these people and have an opportunity to connect with them. Have you ever seen a rich man that didn't have a phone book? You've seen plenty of poor folks with phone books too. But if you look at the list of people on each one of their lists, you will tell the lower class person has a bunch of the other opposite sex phone numbers. The wealthy people have a list of people of the opposite sex who have money. Yeah, they just like everybody else, but they just keep it down low. Okay. So any questions, comments, thoughts, or whatever so far?
No. Doing
Okay.
great.
Okay, let's see if we can close this up here in one view. Hold on, let me get this thing here. Come on. Okay. Driving forces of the poor are survival, entertainment, and relationships. Middle class, the criteria against which most decisions are made relate to work and achievement. Wealthy people, decisions are considered based on the effect on finance, political, and social connections. Using money for security is grounded in the middle class and wealthy. And what does that mean? I use my money to assure my security, to assure that I'm going to continue to live this lifestyle. The wealthy, it's about, this is how we do it. We've done it before. We keep doing it. We're expected to do it. This is not just a game. And yeah, you get the rogues, the rogue children that just want to go off and do whatever they want to do because they can, and they're supported in whatever. But the family unit, the majority of it is going to stay the course. It's going to continue to push forward because it's about the tradition. This is how we do it. Words are used to resolve conflict by negotiation in the middle class and wealthy. But what if you don't have the necessary words or even respect them if you are in poverty? I'll cuss you out at the drop of a hat. Is that going to help the situation?
Nope.
Never has and never will. Violence is often the way to resolve issues in the lower class. You're not giving me what I want? Yeah, that works. Not well at all. And so with that, when you find yourself upset about something to the point of you're about to lose your mind, find the words that are effective without cussing, or keep your mouth shut. Then you don't have to worry about, going fist to fist, for something that's going to do but what? You wind up in jail with a legal bill. Yeah. And sometimes you run up on the wrong one and you get a little more than you was thinking about you was going to get. Okay. That was the conversation this week.
Yep.
From a father to a son. These are things that I had hoped that I would have been able to demonstrate when you were young about managing money, about being able to represent yourself to people, about what's important in life, about how what leadership is, how to work with people. Some things probably demonstrated, some things probably didn't do so well at. But we had the conversation, so now you know. You have something to work with. Is that good? Yep, like you froze. Anyway, we are now 41 minutes into this, and we are going to, I guess, decide on what we'll talk about next week. Next week, I definitely want to talk about the 3 spiritual laws. I definitely want to open with that, and we'll get that done so you'll have an opportunity to understand that. We'll probably have some updates on the murder trial of George Floyd, that too, and anything else that has happened during the course of the week that might be of interest. If you have some thoughts, comments, or suggestions that you'd like to make, please feel free to inbox us or to send us a comment. We do repost the show on Monday evenings in its entirety. Yes, we do add commercials because somebody's got to pay the rent. Hold on one second here. You back?
Yeah, my connection dropped for a moment. Still got a couple minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
You froze again. Okay, now you're back. Okay.
Okay. What was the last thing that you heard before I was dropped off?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
What was the last thing that you heard before I got dropped off?
You weren't saying anything.
Oh, okay. Well, yes. I was talking, it just wasn't going through. Okay.
Okay, well, I didn't hear you say anything.
Okay. Well, then there's nothing lost because can't get back what we don't have. But what were you talking about the paying the bills?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the commercials. Okay.
Okay.
So that's when we, excuse me, that's when we repost the, still more clear up, repost the this episode on Mondays, again on YouTube. It's available. And you can inbox us if you don't have the connection, the link, and we'll send it to you. Yes, we invite you to come back next week and join us. Feel free to send your questions and comments and suggestions. And if you'd like to be present in the online studio, just also inbox us and let us know. We'll send you the link. So until then, God willing, we'll see you next week. If the creek don't rise, and it's God's will. So I'm going to say God bless and thank you. Will?
God bless everyone. Thanks for watching. Until next time.
Until next time.